When I do videos for you guys, I try to make it super simple. Sometimes when people talk about acting, they really try to complicate things and say you have to do this, think about this, think about this. I'm trying to give you guys things that are simple, to the point, easy to understand, and something that you can implement into your own work. If you can't do it, then it's no use for you. And if it's something that's going to take you forever to do, then it might not be that useful for you if you need to learn what to do in 2 weeks. Now, again, there are going to be tons of things in acting that will take time, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. But if I can explain something to you simply from a perspective of someone who's gone through what you guys have gone through before, then it's a lot easier for you guys, I hope, to soak in the information. Because otherwise, if you have someone who's done it for years and years and they don't remember the struggle it is and it all comes easy to them, well, that's great for them, and it will come easy to you. Acting now comes a lot more easier than it did in the beginning, but I had to find ways, things to simplify things, to think of something in a different way, to not think about it in the standard way of, oh, I have to do all this to get to where I want to go. Sometimes you can just do one or two things to get where you want to go instead of doing 20 things. So my point of my videos are try to make things easy and helpful for you guys, and hopefully in this video you're going to find that for you when starting off your monologues. Hey guys, so today's video is how to start your monologue off. So when you're auditioning, depending on what you're auditioning for, monologues are really going to be more used for if you're auditioning for, say, a play. But sometimes, who knows, you may get a script for some film thing that you have to do, and then you have just a monologue that you have to film. And this might be also a scenario for you, but most of the time when you're doing monologues, they're mainly going to be just for plays. So if you're auditioning for a play and you're looking for pieces of monologue to do, you can check out one of my videos before that I talked about how to choose a monologue. But monologues mainly are going to be used for plays, but there are moments when they are used for film as well. So for your monologue, how to start your monologue off, how to get into your monologue. It's a tricky thing because each monologue is sometimes different and each person is different. Some people preferably like to do one thing over another when they're doing a monologue. You have to find what you like. Usually, I prefer someone who takes their time and eases in and gets into the monologue instead of someone who's standing there and says, hey, my name is blah, 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 here's my monologue, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Because then you don't give the audience any time to go, whoa, hang on, let me soak into what you're doing, let me see what you're doing. So you want to find a launch pad, something to start from in order to get to your monologue. A starting pad could be you walk onto the stage, or whoever your audience is, if it's a panel of people or a director, or whoever you're auditioning for in this moment, take a breath. Depending on what your monologue is, maybe you start the monologue and you're turned around, and then you start saying your lines, and then while you're turned around, you slowly turn back and you face your audience. It's not going to work for every character though, but it is something that launches you into a monologue instead of just standing there stating your name and then jumping into the monologue. It's much more preferable to see someone doing something before they get right into their monologue. So if you stand and you're turning the other direction, it starts to give the feeling and the essence that we're getting into a monologue, a different world, you could say. Another thing you could do, if you do have to stand here and you do have to look here, take a moment of silence. Take in a deep breath, breathe, exhale, and then get into your monologue. Make sure you find who you're talking to and you know everything that's going on in the environment around you. So you know that in this particular monologue, if there's 3 people you're talking to, make sure before you start your monologue that you actually look at the 3 imaginary people that you put into the scene, because otherwise what happens is you start your monologue, you'll be talking to one person, and then all of a sudden you're shift to talking to someone else, and then you're shift to talking to someone else. Some people, if you like it, great, then stick with that. But if you do that in your monologue, then the audience is figuring out, oh, there's someone else in the room. Oh, there's 3 people in the room that he's talking to, and it can get confusing. Whereas if you start the monologue off and you're soaking in the imaginary people that you have in the room, you can really define who you're talking to, and it just sets a preface of what we're getting into, that you're talking to multiple people and not just one person. An extra tip for you guys is don't look at the people who are auditioning you. So if you have a director or a casting director in front of you, don't look at them when you're doing the monologue. If you have to look their direction, then look above their heads, but don't look at them, because one, it makes it a little bit awkward, and it also makes them feel that they have to be involved in the monologue with you, and they're not supposed to. In a monologue, it's just you presenting your work to an imaginary group of people if you don't have an actor with you. Otherwise, if you have an actor on stage with you, then of course you say it to the actor. Or if you're given a cold readed script and they said, okay, read this with this actor, then you can look at that person. But for the most part, don't look at the director, don't look at the casting director. In short, you want to make sure that for your monologues, you are actually getting into your monologues. You're easing your way into it. You're not just go ahead and jump right into it. You have to get ready. You have to prepare. It's kind of like before you jump into a pool. When you're standing there at the edge of the pool, you don't just walk out of wherever you're coming from, go to the pool, and then jump in. You take a little bit of a moment. You walk out, you stand at the edge of the pool, you look at it, you get ready, then you jump. You have to take some steps. If you go too quickly, you're going to seem nervous, the monologue isn't going to seem complete, and people are going to have to try and figure things out along the way as they go. But if you can create something that gets the audience curious and wondering what you're doing, it can be anything. Like I said, you can be turned around. You could do something where you're looking at the people within the monologue. You could be someone where you're playing on the ground or you're doing something on the floor where, depending on where you are and what your monologue is, if you're someone who's in the wilderness, you can be on the ground and maybe you're pretending to play with a stick, or if you have a pencil or whatever you want to use, depending on the monologue. It won't work for everything. A lot of things that might be wrong for, but there are some things that it can work for, and it depends on the monologue. So you want to try and be creative with what you use, but you really want to find a starting ground, somewhere that you can start from within your monologue. Don't just say your name and say, okay, I'm doing this, and then boom, you do it. It's too quick, it's too confusing, and it doesn't make you memorable. If you can take in a breath, breathe, do your piece, you're going to seem like a much stronger actor. So I hope you guys like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you can be up to date with everything. I'm always doing different videos for you guys, and I try to give things that are logical. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel and you'll be up to date with everything. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.